This is where you not having any counterclaims actually helps
Yeah.
you.
Oh, helps? You
Because
think it helps me?
yeah, because you don't have anything to prove. You just have to defend. You just have to keep her from reaching a threshold, right?
Well, sure, but I feel like if I had something to prove, I feel like I could get so many unfavorable adversarial readings or whatever based on their deletion of, like, if I had a counterclaim, say, for defamation or I don't know, something like that, and I would start asking, like, show me, like, I actually, and I really genuinely do want to see the messages between Pixie and Aaron, because the leaked video in those videos, they were talking about a lot of stuff that I just have I don't know what those conversations, because some of the things where, you know, Aaron talks about how Pixie made up being suicidal to try to get more money out of me, that Pixie was working with somebody else to put together that Substack. Like, these are things that I think are all incredibly relevant to the underlying claims and the stuff stuff that she's talking about, but I don't have access to any of it. She doesn't turn over any of that. And and then like when we deposed, you heard when we deposed her ex-boyfriend was like, yeah, she called me to tell me about the deposition, but I don't remember anything else about that phone call, and we delete all of our text messages to each other. And then Joan's like, stop, attorney, client privilege. And it's like, what do you mean? It's like, I represent him, actually. I am representing him. And it was like, do you, and then it was like, are you getting money, or did Pixie pay for you to have Joan? Stop, that's attorney-client privilege. And it's like, are you serious? We can't depose anybody because they're all represented by you too? Like, it's oh my God. I think that's probably one of my favorite things about this case is the fact that Joan represented Lauren, who is an attorney, represented Pixie's ex, represented Abby, represents every single person we're going to depose. She's like 2 weeks before the deposition becomes their lawyer. It's like, are we serious right now? Oh my God.
So the hard part about that for me is that, like, I don't know this specifically, but like abusing attorney-client privilege in that way is one of the few ways that, like, I feel like Joan could actually is kind of courting danger for herself. Yeah, because the other side of it is, and I don't know how much it has to be within your current court case, or if there's going to be something separate. I just don't know about those things because I've never been that retarded to do that. But like one of the big things there is that it's like, if you ask questions to them about something that happened before she represented them, there's no attorney-client, right? If I start representing you today, Stephen, and people ask you about things that happened yesterday, I can't claim attorney-client privilege.
Maybe.
Even if it was a conversation between me and you.
I think you can stretch that a bit. Like if I start talking to you about you potentially representing me, but we don't sign letters of engagement for a week or two,
sure.
I think technically you can pull back to here because
but the deal is that only stretches to the specific context of that representation, right? Like even if I'm representing you now and we talk about where we're going to go eat lunch, that's not protected by attorney-client privilege.
Well, yeah, I mean, you say that, but they're going to they're going to object to attorney-client privilege on everything, and it's one of the few objections that you can actually shut down a deposition on, so you can't ask any more questions on there either, which is annoying.
But if it's a case that is worth having that fight over, I don't know. I mean, like, I don't know. It sounded like her boyfriend didn't have a whole lot that was worth fighting over.
Well,
but
I mean, we found out she lied about more things. She sent me pictures of him that he didn't even know she was sharing. Like, but no, it wasn't like huge killer things that you could. I think
that's what the depot was worth it. I'm saying, like, the attorney-client privilege moments. It was like, are we going to go to the mat for this?
Well, that's the annoying thing. Like you said this before that I thought was funny. We were like, if I'm asking a person something on a deposition and I'm leading them somewhere, I feel like in depots, especially on low stakes civil cases, I feel like you could just say, oh, I don't know. And it's like, what are you going to do? You're going to file a motion? Are you going to
are you going to spend the money and the time?
Because like, fuck, probably not. So whatever. Yeah, just lie to me. Yeah.
Because like if I'm in and also you might just go, well, look, I don't like, fine, you can say that now here, but then in court, whenever I've got other testimony, I've got other evidence in front of the jury, and it points to you being a lying sack of shit, and I'm giving you a chance right here, right now, set the record straight. And
I want to be rich.
Shut up.
For more money, all you need is your phone.
Literally, shut up. No one cares.
No. Go to Geico, get
Geico.
a phone, and you could save $900 with your phone.
Look at that, it's ringing.
It feels good to save some coin. It feels good to Geico.
Over the years, Judy has had to figure out exactly what a baby sloth needs to survive. In place of their mum, they like a teddy or a friend to hug at all times, and need feeding every 4 hours.
Yo Leute, was geht ab? Herzlich willkommen zurück zu einem neuen Video auf dem Boys Club Kanal. YouTube Deutschland brennt nach wie vor. Im letzten Video habt ihr ja schon gesehen, dass wir einmal in einer Dreier-Videoserie über die ganze neue Entwicklung hinsichtlich der Moki Annie the Duck Thematik sprechen wollen, die Jakob Reetze jetzt hier in einem kurzen und knackigen 3-Stunden-Video nochmal neu aufgemacht hat. Im letzten Video haben wir über diesen emotionalen Missbrauch gesprochen, den Moki, muss man einfach sagen, erfunden hat. Den hat es nie gegeben. Das wurde 1:1 so in den Chatnachrichten belegt. Und heute möchten wir um die legendäre 2,50 € Donation sprechen, die wohl fake war.
Ja, ich empfehle euch auf jeden Fall das Video von Jakob
auf jeden Fall. Schaut da rein.
Also es ist halt wirklich krank, auch wenn es sehr lange ist. Es lohnt sich auf jeden Fall.
Ist auch verlinkt.
Wir haben ja im ersten Video, wie gesagt, über die Chats geredet. Jetzt geht es um die Donation. Und zwar hatte Anni ja den Kontakt mit Moki abgebrochen und schon im Vorfeld von diesem Stream kam es immer wieder vor, dass Moki Leuten irgendwas Schlimmes über Anni erzählt hat, wie belastend doch diese Zeit gewesen ist und wie ekelhaft sie war und bla bla bla. Und das Ganze, also Anni hat dann auch immer wieder Nachrichten an Moki geschrieben mit, hey, so, keine Ahnung, können wir das nochmal klären? Was brauchst du, um das Ganze zu beenden? Also selbst da, nachdem Scheiße über Anni rumerzählt worden ist im Privaten, war Anni sogar noch so lieb zu sagen, so, hey, wir können uns ganz normal zusammensetzen, wir können es ganz normal klären, so, ne, die ist da jetzt gar nicht in dem Sinne drauf eingegangen, dass sie selber irgendwelche Unwahrheiten über Moki verbreitet hatte oder so. Und ja, das Ganze ist dann darin gegipfelt, dass sie ja dann einen Livestream gemacht hat, wo sie dann über Anni ausgepackt hat. Bereits im Vorfeld gab es eine ultra lange, mega Nachricht irgendwie, die wurde jetzt nicht ganz gezeigt, aber Jakob meinte, da muss man Stunden dran gesessen haben, die Moki am gleichen Tag von dem Stream morgens um 5 Uhr an Anni geschickt hat, mit ja, heftigen Vorwürfen, wie schlimm das alles war und irgendwie der letzte Satz war irgendwie, ja, viel Glück für deine Zukunft, die wird einsam oder irgendwie sowas. Und dann gab es halt diesen Livestream. Und da konnte man ja mehrere Dinge beweisen. Wir können die mal durchgehen. Soll ich,
ja, ich würde sagen, vielleicht holen wir die Zuschauer nochmal ganz kurz ab, wo wir jetzt gerade in der Timeline sind. Und zwar dieser Livestream oder diese Nachricht, die Moki eben an Anni geschickt habe, die ist ja, wenn ich mich nicht irre, korrigiere mich gerne, danach passiert, nachdem Anni eben so nach diesem ganzen Drama, Stuhlwurf
Ja, vor
etc.,
dem Stream halt, ne?
was passiert ist, hat Anni ja den Kontakt so ein bisschen abgebrochen, hat dann auch gesagt, melde dich, wenn du wieder du bist und ey, war immer noch viel zu nett, muss man auch dazu
Ja, ja.
sagen, ne? Hat natürlich Moki auf jeden Fall auch kritisiert für die ganzen Sachen, die da vorgefallen sind, aber hat eben auch gesagt, ey, die Moki, die ich damals kennengelernt habe, die ich so lieben gelernt habe, die gibt es nicht mehr. Und hat sogar am Ende noch offen gelassen, nach der ganzen Scheiße, die passiert ist, die Moki gemacht hat, offen gelassen, ey, wenn du dich wieder änderst, wenn du reden möchtest, wenn du wieder zu dem zurückfindest, der du eigentlich bist, melde dich gerne. Und dann sind wir jetzt quasi an dem Punkt, wo Anni dann auf Nachrichten von Moki nicht mehr geantwortet hat. Und dann ist jetzt diese brachiale letzte Nachricht, wo sie so lange dran gesessen hat, an diesem besagten Tag eben bei Anni eingetroffen. Ja, und dann gab es den Livestream.
Ja, und da sind mehrere Punkte aufgefallen auf jeden Fall. Wir gehen die mal langsam, können wir mal langsam durchgehen. Also der erste ist auf jeden Fall, dass vorher war es auf jeden Fall geplant, das zu machen. Moki hat ja zum Beispiel gesagt, ja, Anni, immer geht's nur um Anni. Und Jakob und ich glaube Anni Rain, ich weiß nicht, wie das war. Also die haben auf jeden Fall abgecheckt, ja, okay, wie viele Nachrichten hatten denn Bezug zu Anni? Und es waren 0,07 im gesamten Stream, wo irgendwie 20.000 Nachrichten oder sowas, die da, glaube ich, gepostet worden sind.
Ich würde schon sagen, jeder wollte es wissen.
Jeder wollte.
Wie viel? 0,07?
0,07% waren das. Und ja, alleine das ist halt schon mal also eine klare Lüge, ne, dass das so dargestellt wird, wie, ja, ich muss jetzt drüber reden, weil jeden interessiert das. Dann hat Jakob auch immer wieder die Streamausschnitte halt gezeigt und man merkt, dass sie immer nervöser wird. Also jetzt so im Nachhinein, wenn man sich das so anguckt, man merkt so richtig so, sie will auf irgendwas so hinaus, aber sie weiß nicht ganz, wie sie das machen soll, wird halt super nervös und so weiter. Dann ja, hat sie ja diese Donation halt bekommen, hat ganz zufällig vorher die Musik ausgemacht, die Kamera dann nochmal eingestellt, bevor sie mit dem Real Talk gestartet hat. Und man hat sogar gesehen im Handy-Display, dass sie diese Donation schon gesehen hatte. Dann eine Minute später sagt sie, oh, ich habe eine Donation bekommen, das habe ich gar nicht mitgekriegt.
Da ist ein Text, aber es war eine Frage. Ich habe die Donation gar nicht gesehen, Leute, aber es war, glaube ich, eine Frage. Aber wie ist sie dumm? Also wenn sie die nicht gesehen hat, wie kann sie dann wissen, dass das eine Frage ist?
Nee, ich glaube, es hat wer im Chat geschrieben oder so gleich.
Okay, Moki, Glück gehabt. Ich dachte, ich hab dich da.
Und ja, dann, keine Ahnung, hat sie halt, ich glaube, ein paar Mal sogar versucht, diesen Ausraster halt zu starten, bis sie, ja, das dann irgendwie hinbekommen hat, tatsächlich dann darüber zu reden.
Mann,
und ja, es ist jetzt auch raus, dass es auf jeden Fall gefaked ist, weil es wurde als Beweis Vic und Alexander Broß, die haben quasi die Nachricht bekommen. Der Zeuge, die Zeugin, wie auch immer, die eigentlich im Video mit auftauchen sollte, hat, glaube ich, irgendwie aus Angst vor Konsequenzen gesagt, nee, kann ich nicht machen. Ja. Und um das zu verifizieren, hat sowohl Vic auch Alexander Broß die Nachricht gesehen. Ja. Und da wurde bestätigt, dass das Fake gewesen ist, diese Donation. Das war genauso geplant. Auch dieser Ausraster war geplant. Ja, das heißt, die Zuschauer wurden da wirklich 2 Jahre lang einfach alleine, wenn man das nur auf Moki bezieht, wirklich komplett verarscht. Denn, keine Ahnung, man hat ja auch nur diesen Ausschnitt gesehen damals und man dachte so, ja, kann schon sein, wenn die viel mit Anni gemacht hat, man kriegt viele Nachrichten und jetzt packt die einfach mal ein bisschen aus, weil sie das vielleicht auch vom Kopf her nicht mehr schafft. Ist halt nicht so, wie es zu Schein Ding.
Ganz genau, ne? Das ist der letzte Satz, genau den möchte ich auf jeden Fall nochmal positiv hervorheben von dem, was du gesagt hast. Aber ich weiß nicht, wie es bei euch war oder wie es bei dir war. Also Jakob hat es ja im letzten Video auch schon so angekündigt, ne, dass es diese 2,50 € Donation, dieser Mythos, ne, diese Saga um diesen legendären Moment, dass die halt fein wird. Und ich war echt ein bisschen traurig, Mann, weil Und man darf nicht vergessen, dass was für geile Memes sind daraus entstanden. Ne? Also wirklich, ne, das wurde ja immer wieder reproduziert, ne? Die nächste 2,50 € Donation und so weiter. Und ja, schade. Ne? Also letztlich ist es schade, aber es ist ja wirklich...
Aber es ist auch trotzdem gut, weil im Sommer wurden ja so viele Leute trotzdem exposed und das war ja trotzdem der Anfang. Ne? Also man muss Smokey auch danken, ich muss Smokey auch danken auf jeden Fall für sehr tolle YouTube-Monate auf jeden Fall. Ja, das, wie gesagt, war halt fake, ist halt super dreist, also gerade wenn man sich jetzt die beiden Videos bis dahin dann noch angeguckt hat. Also wenn jetzt Anni wirklich Scheiße gebaut hätte, so, dann hätte man sagen können, gut, du brauchst halt einen Aufhänger oder so, ne? Mein Gott, aber es war ja anscheinend, ich denke nicht, dass Smokey noch das Gegenteil beweisen kann, wirklich komplett gelogen. Sie hat keine 5 Jahre unter Anni gelitten. Die Freundschaft also aus Annis Seite war halt auch super. Sie war super zuvorkommend, empathisch, nett. Und einfach nur, weil sie halt mit Zurückweisung nicht klarkommt und dann halt geghostet worden ist, was Anni ja aber, wie gesagt, auch angekündigt hat, wurde da dann so eine ekelhafte Schmierkampagne gestartet. Und ich frage mich halt wirklich, was Smokey für ein ekelhafter Mensch ist. Wirklich, also musst du dir mal überlegen. Es ist ja wirklich nichts vorgefallen. So, Anni war die ganze Zeit super nett und weil du mit dieser Zurückweisung nicht klarkommst, startest du so eine ekelhafte Kampagne, um die Karriere der Person zu zerstören, die dir so viel in deinem Leben ermöglicht hat. Weil du einfach mit deinem Leben nicht klarkommst. Es ist wirklich krass.
Ja, also wie gesagt, absolut gar nicht nachvollziehbar. Ich frage mich wirklich, was da ihr durch den Kopf geht. Was man aber sagen muss, dass sie es eigentlich im Nachhinein, guck mal, es hat jetzt 2 Jahre gedauert, überhaupt bis es rauskam und das eben auch nur, weil Jakob Rätsel mit erhobenem Haupt sozusagen die ganze Story nochmal aufarbeitet. Weil niemand hätte ja auch gedacht, dass man so quasi anfängt, so eine Hetzkampagne zu starten, weil es ist ja total logisch auch, dass die Donation reinkommen, das macht absolut Sinn und auch, dass sie dann so ausrastet, aber ich fand es auch so geil, also ich habe mich wirklich totgelacht, also hier diesen Part mit diesen 0,07% habe ich tatsächlich nicht gesehen, weil ich da gerade duschen war, ich habe es nicht gehört, ich habe gerade irgendwann, das geht 3 Stunden 30 Uhr, ich muss irgendwann auch nochmal duschen, Digga, bin dann unter die Dusche gegangen, habe es irgendwie gehört und diesen Teil habe ich dann, glaube ich, einfach nicht mitbekommen, aber eben, als es dann so geil zusammengeschnitten wurde, wie sie da sitzt, wie sie die Kamera verstellt, wie sie, wenn man richtig so merkt, wenn man das jetzt wusste, wie sie so eigentlich schon mal was sagen wollte, dann nochmal, okay, nee, irgendwie war es da doch noch nicht der Moment, jetzt muss ich die Kamera nochmal ein Stück weiter nach links stellen und dann eben wirklich, wer hat da donated, was war da eigentlich los? Und dann Jakob sagt so, jetzt irgendwie Vorhang frei für diese Oscar-reife Premiere und dann diese goofy Musik da drunter gelegt hat, Digga, ich musste mich so totlachen, weil es auch einfach so unangenehm ist. Ich bin nicht diese Person! So unangenehm dargestellt und einfach so, dass man sich denkt, Alter, wie kannst du als einziger Mensch eigentlich so eine Dreistigkeit besitzen und vor allem, was muss ich Anni gedacht haben? Du kriegst diese Wall of Text und dann diese Scheiße im Livestream, Mann. Und
du weißt dann genau, was abgeht.
Du weißt halt genau, was gerade abgeht und du kannst nichts dagegen tun, weil da kommen wir dann im nächsten Video drauf zu sprechen, hat ja diese 2,50 € Donation ja dann wirklich diesen gesamten Stein ins Rollen gebracht und anderem Reef ist ja dann noch live gegangen, einen Tag später und so, wie gesagt, machen wir dann. Aber was denkst du dir in so einer Situation? Vor allem so gestaged halt eben auch noch. Ne? Und ich finde es echt wirklich schade, ich weiß gar nicht, wie die Person hieß, irgendwas mit I am Ende auf jeden Fall, dass man da halt nicht irgendwie gucken konnte, wer war das, aber man hat gesehen, dass die Person noch nie, glaube ich, geschrieben hat oder noch nie irgendwie
noch nie gespendet, noch nie geschrieben. Jamie,
ja, mit I war ich auf jeden Fall richtig. So, das ist, es ist halt einfach insane und es ist an Dreistigkeit wirklich fast nicht zu überbieten. Ich wüsste nicht, wie man es schlimmer machen könnte eigentlich.
Ja, vor allem, ich finde es aber auch krass, dass Smokey damit wirklich 2 Jahre davon gekommen ist, muss man sagen, ne? Weil also zum Beispiel, das habe ich auch gelesen, der ABK hat damals schon gesagt, dass es fake war und so kein Front an ABK, stimmt ja jetzt, aber ich habe den Clip sogar gesehen, weil Twitch-Bion hat den gepostet und seine Argumentation war aber auch nicht wirklich schlüssig irgendwie.
Was hat er gesagt?
Ich habe es jetzt nicht mehr ganz im Kopf gerade, ich habe es heute Morgen nur kurz gesehen, aber quasi so, ja, ist aber Zufall, dass da jemand spendet und dann fängt das Thema an, so weißt du, also er ist ja immer gegen den Mainstream, so, ne, er hat ja schon 1000 Sachen gegen irgendwelche Leute behauptet, die groß sind und ja, jetzt hat er halt mal recht, aber so wie Jakob das aufgearbeitet hat, also selbst ohne Vic und Alexander Boos, die es ja dann durch die Nachricht auch bewiesen haben, dass das wirklich so ist, dass er sich wirklich den Stream angeguckt hat, dass man gemerkt hat, man wird immer nervöser, man will so dieses Thema ansprechen, man hat die Donation vorher gesehen und so. Das Ganze wurde bei ABK halt auch nicht gezeigt, muss man sagen. Das ist halt genau das gleiche wie bei mir und dem Anni-Interview. So, das Anni-Interview war trotzdem Schrott, was ich geführt habe, auch wenn jetzt rauskommt, dass halt alles stimmt, was ja trotzdem nicht gut geführt von mir.
Was waren da so die Fehler von dir?
Das können wir in einem neuen Video dann besprechen.
Das war mal in dem Teil 4.
Ich muss gleich streamen, deswegen müssen wir uns ein bisschen beeilen, weil sonst kriegt es nicht hin.
Okay.
Und genau, das heißt, von Moki auf jeden Fall absolut ekelhaft. Noch ekelhafter finde ich, dass da auch weitere Personen mit involviert gewesen sind, und zwar Reeft tatsächlich. Reeft war ja einen Tag später online und hat quasi das, was Smokey gesagt hat, auch nochmal bestätigt. Hat auch selber einige Stories rausgehauen, die sie mit Annie the Duck in der Vergangenheit gehabt haben soll. Und auch da hat Smokey anderen Leuten erzählt, dass das genauso geplant gewesen ist. Und auch hier hat Vic und Alexander Boos das Ganze bestätigt. Es war mit Reeft abgesprochen, dass quasi in dem Smokey-Stream Reeft erwähnt wird, damit sie einen Grund hat, am nächsten Tag online zu kommen, um ja dann auch nochmal was Negatives gegen Annie zu sagen. Und das ist, also, das hätte ich von Reeft nicht erwartet, sage ich dir ganz ehrlich.
Ja, es ist halt, wie gesagt, es ist absolut brutal. Jetzt nochmal zu diesem Zeugen, habe ich das richtig verstanden? Da gab es eigentlich, also war geplant in dem Video, dass jemand
Stream, oder?
Bitte?
Im Stream.
Nee, in dem Video von Jakob war eigentlich geplant, dass
ich glaube, ich weiß es nicht. Also,
dass jemand, die richtige Person sozusagen
oder ich weiß nicht, ob die auftauchen sollte. Ich glaube, die Nachricht sollte auf jeden Fall
Okay, die Nachricht sollte auftauchen, okay. Und,
aber dann wäre es halt zurückzuführen.
Ja, klar. Und ich kann es auch verstehen. Ne? Also Jakob hat ja auch in seinem Video gesagt, dass er da irgendwie auch gerade mit Abmahnungen zu kämpfen hat.
Nee,
und,
Abmahnung hat er nicht. Hat er Abmahnung?
Er hat gesagt auf jeden Fall, dass er mittlerweile auch anwaltlich oder weiß ich nicht. Ich schwöre, Abmahnung.
Weiß ich nicht. Also mir hat er das, wenn auf jeden Fall nicht gesagt.
Dass im Hintergrund da viel los ist.
Im Hintergrund viel los ist, weiß ich. Dass irgendwie versucht wird, die mundtot zu machen oder so.
Ja,
aber ich glaube, Abmahnung weiß ich nicht. Also,
ja, okay. Wir könnt ihr ja immer in die Kommentare schreiben, ob das jetzt so ist oder nicht. Ich bin der Meinung, ja, Tim sagt nein. Letztlich ist die Wahrheit in Jakob Rezels Video zu finden. Aber ja, total logisch, dass dann eben so YouTube-Giganten wie Vic, ne, die ja auch für Glaubwürdigkeit stehen im Netz, sozusagen genommen werden, um das zu verifizieren. Und das ist auch richtig lustig, dass einfach Boos damit drin auftaucht. Ja, und dann auch in dieser Anwaltssprache. Ich kann hiermit bestätigen, dass...
anwaltlich versichern.
Ich kann anwaltlich versichern, dass hier Korrespondenzen zwischen Mauki und einer, oder irgendwie, keine Ahnung, Person vorliegen, die letztlich dann bestätigen, dass das so gewesen ist. Und es ist halt wirklich, ja, ne, ein gesamter Mythos aufgebaut worden. Mit Lügen. Ja, das ist einfach schade, ne?
Ja, und wie gesagt, ne, von Reeve wirklich maximal enttäuscht, weil die hat ja nie irgendwie Skandale oder so. Gut, die hat ABK einmal so HS irgendwie gesagt, also das war jetzt nicht so einfach HS, sondern irgendwie, was studierst du, HS sein? Irgendwie sowas, glaube ich, hat die mal gesagt, war auch nicht korrekt, okay. Aber ansonsten ist die ja wirklich nicht dafür bekannt gewesen, irgendwie ihre Zuschauer zu verarschen oder bei solchen Hetzkampagnen mitzumachen oder Lügen über andere zu verbreiten. Und ja, dass Reeve dann da mitmacht, hat mich, also Real Talk, einfach echt krass enttäuscht, muss ich halt sagen, weil auch gerade das eine Influencerin war, von der man halt genau das überhaupt nicht erwartet hätte. Die stand ja wirklich super da und ist halt schon wirklich dreist, warum auch immer die da mitgemacht hat. Jakob hat ja schon angeteasert, dass das wahrscheinlich im 3. Video dann oder sowas aufgearbeitet wird, aber dass man da ja dann irgendwie im Nachhinein, ich meine, die waren ja auch mal zusammen, Annie und Reeve, dass man dann da denkt, okay, keine Ahnung, vielleicht nicht gut auseinandergegangen, ja, und jetzt mache ich dich halt richtig kaputt. Oder Moki hat auch Reeve belabert und die ist davon ausgegangen, dass alles stimmt, keine Ahnung, das weiß ich nicht. Aber unter anderem hat Reeve ja auch gesagt, dass dieser Missbrauch passiert bis heute mit anderen Betroffenen. Und Moki hatte irgendwie an Annie geschrieben, ja, deine Schwester leidet so krass. Und dann gab es auch einen Part von ihr, da hat sie auch gesagt, also von der Schwester, die auch gesagt hat, nee, das ist gar nicht so. Also das ist alles so, integriert, Dings? Nee,
ja, es ist halt...
Das Wort fällt mir nicht ein.
Ja, es ist halt konstruiert?
Ja, konstruiert, ja, kann man auch sagen. Ne? Ja, kann man mal. Ja. Und ja, sag weiter.
Genau, das ist alles, wie gesagt, sehr krass konstruiert gewesen. Das war das Wort, was ich gerade gesagt habe. Und ja, wie du auch schon gesagt hast, ne? Ich glaube, Reeve war zu dem Zeitpunkt auch gar nicht mehr so aktiv.
Nee, gar nicht.
Ja, das ist ja noch krasser dann.
Ja.
Mal reinziehen, ne? Du bist quasi gar nicht mehr aktiv auf Twitch. Und der hat ja dann sogar diese Reichweite von diesem Comeback-Stream mehr oder weniger. Vielleicht war es ja dann auch so, keine Ahnung. Dann sogar mitgenommen, dass da noch mehr Aufmerksamkeit drauf gelenkt wird. Das schafft ja dann auch noch mehr dieses Narrativ. Geiles Wort übrigens, das habe ich in den letzten 7 Tagen, glaube ich, 150 Mal gesagt, dass sie vielleicht auch deswegen offline war, weil jetzt hat sich endlich wer geäußert und Mauki und ja, und andere Betroffene werden auch noch was sagen und werden sich melden und sowas, ne? Wie gesagt, das hat Jakob ja auch in seinem Video gesagt, zum Beispiel auch diese gesamte Katzenthematik wird nochmal neu aufgerollt, wenn ich das richtig verstanden habe. Und da weiß ich nicht zu 100%, aber ich glaube, Reeve hat das auch mit in die Öffentlichkeit gebracht.
Ja, die Katzengeschichte kam von Reeve.
Die kam von Reeve sogar, ne? Und ja, einfach auf so eine 2,50 € Donation dieses gesamte Fass jetzt zum Ausbrechen kommen zu lassen, ist halt, wie gesagt, einfach insane. Na klar, vielleicht wurde Reeve an der Situation belabert, aber man darf ja auch nicht vergessen, dass sie ja auch einen Grund hätte.
Ja,
vielleicht, ne, wenn die eben schlecht auseinandergegangen sind, da irgendwie jetzt auch negativ gegen sie auszupacken. Aber da denke ich mir auch,
warum?
Warum
hat man das nötig? Ich verstehe es halt nicht. Also bei Reeve läuft ja. Also weißt du, das ist so, was
so
willst du jetzt,
halt, ne?
ja. So, und das habe ich auch in meinem Kuchen-Talks am Mittwoch, habe ich das ja auch schon gesagt. Ne? Also Lenny hat ja auch gesagt, so, ja, aber jeder müsste ja so niedrige Beweggründe gehabt haben. So, ja, also es ist traurig, aber Stand jetzt ist halt genau das Ding. Ich glaube halt, dass Smokey und Reeve sind ja also mindestens mal zwei, die sich abgesprochen haben. Und danach kam ja zum Beispiel halt Sally, die Ex-Mitarbeiterin und so. Und ich kann mir halt vorstellen, dass die vielleicht tatsächlich sich unfair behandelt gefühlt haben. Und dann geht man davon aus, okay, guck mal, jetzt sind die Vorwürfe gerade da, die Person steht in der Kritik, jetzt habe ich auch den Mut, mich zu äußern. Ne? Wie gesagt, ich weiß nicht, vielleicht werden die also die Ex-Mitarbeiterin anscheinend schon, bei Sally weiß ich es nicht, aber das Video wurde jetzt auch schon offline genommen, ne, dass dann andere Leute, die vielleicht das Gefühl auch einfach hatten, unfair behandelt worden zu sein, ne, wie diese Ex-Mitarbeiterin, dass sie sich dachte, okay, jetzt steht die Person in der Kritik, jetzt kann ich mich halt auch äußern. Das ist ja auch, wie Lenny sagt, also am Ende jeder Schwanz hat irgendwie seine Mini-Story mit Annie irgendwie rausgehauen und jeder hatte mal Kontakt mit ihr und überall ist irgendwas Schlimmes passiert. Und ja, im Nachhinein muss man das Ganze halt wirklich einfach in Frage stellen. Also wenn die Katzenthematik auch noch wegfällt, keine Ahnung, ob Rezo da noch aufgearbeitet wird. Er hat da auch mal ein Video gemacht. Ich glaube, also ich glaube, der hat das Thema aufgearbeitet, aber sein Part, was er mit Anni zu tun hat, ich weiß gar nicht, ich glaube, da hat er nicht so schlimme Dinge gesagt. Ich weiß
hat er
es
das in
nicht
so einem
mehr.
eigenen Hauptkanal-Video gemacht? Oder
Nee, auf seinem Reaction-Kanal,
okay.
so 2 Stunden, hat so alle Statements angeguckt, auch selber seine Stories erzählt. Und wenn das halt auch wegfällt, da muss man halt wirklich langsam sagen, ey, diese Karriere wurde wirklich zu Unrecht zerstört. Man muss aber, das sage ich halt immer noch, also von mir natürlich auch scheiße, weil ich sag mal, gerade bei Moki gab es auch in online schon super viele Ungereimtheiten, die man wahrscheinlich auch hätte nachrecherchieren können. Aber Anni hat sich also dafür, dass die so im Recht gewesen ist, mit allem so schlecht verkauft, weil sie halt trotzdem im ersten Statement, wie ich glaube, das haben wir im ersten Video gesagt gehabt, ne, mit dem, oh, ich will diese Erinnerung an diese Freundschaft behalten, weil sie wirklich da noch so lieb gewesen ist, jetzt im Nachhinein, ne, dass sie halt eben kein so großes Fass aufmachen wollte, sondern das Thema halt einfach, ne, so ist beendet. Und ja, Moki da einfach dann weiter draufgehauen hat, genauso wie andere. Und ja, ist krass. Mal gucken, was da im dritten Video kommt, falls irgendwann dieses Jahr noch kommt.
Ja, ich glaube, ne, man weiß letztlich dann, das gesamte Bild sieht man erst dann, wenn alle Fakten auf dem Tisch liegen, ne, wie du so sagen würde.
Ja, ja.
Und ja, ich bin auf jeden Fall auch gespannt. Ich finde es, wie gesagt, immer noch krass, dass das alles so geplant war, alles so eingefädelt wurde und eben alles mit dieser 2,50 € Donation eben gestartet ist.
Ja, ja, dann würde ich sagen, sehen wir uns im nächsten Video wieder, meine Freunde.
Lasst ein Like, lasst ein Abo da.
Lasst ein Like, Abo da. Bis dann, okay, thanks, bye.
Bye, bye.
And you say, okay, I'll set the record straight. And you go, well, that's weird because in the deposition you said you didn't know.
Sure. Yeah.
And then boom, right? You've got it where it's like, were you lying then or were you lying now? I can't tell. You need to clarify this.
Yeah.
And so, there's benefits, but like as far as the attorney-client privilege abuse goes, like there are definitely times like I would bet if it in Pixie's depo, if it ever happens, that would be one where it might be where one of your attorneys might go, well, let's get the judge on the phone.
Ooh.
And we're going to get them on the phone, and they're going to be mad that they're on the phone, and you're going to explain to them the attorney-client privilege. And then what the judge can do is see it in camera.
And then rule on the objection right there.
Yeah.
Right then, yeah. Is that in My Cousin Vinny, or was that a Law & Order episode? I feel like I've seen that happen one time on TV or whatever.
It is incredibly rare to do that. It's
Yeah.
not a good idea to do that. But if someone's abusing attorney-client privilege, that can be something that, like, it might be worth it.
Yeah.
But also, you could then say, okay, I'm still going to ask the question here. And then whenever we get to pretrial, okay, we're going to sort this out at pretrial in front of the judge. You objected to attorney-client privilege. I'm going to the judge will see what the question was, and then the judge will say, okay, do I think this is attorney-client privilege or not? Things like that. It's super hard to get around it, and that's why they're using it. But
it was really annoying because like we wanted to ask her, especially her ex, because I mean like it looks like you're hardcore prepping a deponent. That's what it looks like if she is like messaging him. But Joan kept like nibbling around the edges of like, well, if he's having a conversation about getting representation, then this still counts as attorney-client privilege. And it's like, so we're like, headed off from pursuing any of these lines of questioning, and it's like, this is a fucking joke, bro.
Well, and so like, and that's the other hard. This is like why you would want to do it in front of the judge, is because like, let's say I represent you and Dan is present. It doesn't matter what we talk about. It cannot be attorney-client privilege because Dan is present and I'm not a Jewish lawyer, so I don't represent him. Okay.
It cannot be attorney-client. Well, you and me could claim attorney-client privilege, but Dan could still testify to it.
No, we could not.
Really?
Yeah. I can't claim it because someone was present. So how is it privileged? I knew someone was present.
Oh,
if I wanted to be privileged, why did I talk?
If Joan is representing all of them, then it doesn't matter.
But here's the deal. If she's representing one of them in one capacity and another one in another capacity, it doesn't necessarily follow that everything they talk about is going to be privileged between all three of them.
Sure. I don't disagree with you, but this sounds like a thing that you would have to finagle on like an elevated environment and not something that either party would agree to.
You wouldn't do it in the middle of the depot.
Yeah, unfortunately, yeah.
But like the other, like I said before, though, getting their ridiculous behavior on the record, because that's on the record, is still useful in its own ways. And while that boyfriend did have some interesting info, if you don't get everything out of him, that's fine. Y'all's defense of you against these claims don't rely on him exonerating you with every piece of information. There was enough, like he said enough on there that was, like you said, was helpful.
Yeah, sure, yeah.
But yeah, that is like a really frustrating part of depots, and like you can, in the middle of it, just have like that is a place where you can have shit just drop on your head. Or like, oh fuck, I didn't know my client knew that, or like you said, my client was lying the whole time. Decided to tell the truth now. Fuck me, it's on the record.
Yikes.
So yeah, but
yeah, I hope I have a moment. What was that one guy? There was some guy who had a huge court case against some other loser who was like telling his fans the whole time that this was like completely locked in, was going to win 100%, and then he absolutely
I don't know his name, but yeah,
and loses completely.
He got his guns taken away or something. Yeah.
Wait. Oh no, you're thinking of Tectone. I'm thinking of I think it was an Australian thing. It was a guy who Carl Jobst or whatever. Did you ever hear anything about that guy?
No, I don't really pay attention to Australia.
Basically he was being sued by Billy Crystal or something. I don't know if I'm making that name up, but like, yeah, he was telling his audience the whole time. He's like, yeah, we're winning, we're doing good, it's easy. And then all of a sudden the judgment comes down and it's like $400K against him, and he completely lost. Billy Mitchell.
I remember this. Billy Mitchell, yeah. And I really like that Fistful of Quarters movie.
Oh my god! And then he was saying the whole like we were feeding this whole thing through ChatGPT, and they said that the court case was a lock for us. I was like, why would you say this publicly, bro?
Yeah, if I could tell you what clients have said to me about ChatGPT.
Ready?
Yeah, go ahead.
Let's say that you have a big company, and I have hand-selected 100 DGGers, okay? And I think that I think they're really impressive. They've got good backgrounds. I think they're super qualified. I think they'll be an asset to your company. And let's say that you agree to, interview them for the job. And let's say that of those 100 people that I send your way, let's say that absolutely none of them show up to the interview. They all miss the interview. I'm just curious, what would your assumptions be about those people?
Let me just run it back, just make sure. I have a big company. You saying, hey, I've got 100 people to apply for positions at your company, and they're all great. And they say, great, I've scheduled all 100 of them to show up at different times so I can interview them.
Yeah, just for interviews. That's not like a trick question. Yeah, I'm like,
just make sure. Yeah. I would think, like, I would no longer consider them for that job. I would say, okay, well, these people.
But I'm telling you, they're really great employees. I swear to God, they're really great employees.
Oh, okay. What's actually in fact then? Sorry, I would think less of you. I would reach out to them one more time. I'd tell you that this happened. One, then I would reach back out since you've recommended them and try to reschedule. I would think worse of them for it, and I'd probably these people would have to really wow me in the interview to overcome them.
Really wow you, huh?
Up. Yeah, they'd have to really like.
One of the things that I said that I
feel like it was worth it that they missed the first one.
One of the things that's annoyed me more than like the philosophy arc thing, just learning all the dumb shit that people say, is definitely anything related to legal stuff. I don't know how to communicate. I'm a layman. I know.
Wait, was that about me?
No. I don't know how to communicate to a layman. I understand I'm a layman, but for people that are completely legally retarded, how unfathomably fucking stupid it sounds when you claim that you have 60 incredibly strong cases on the merits and over half of them fail to standing, which is the easiest minimum. It's such a and it's such a compelling talking point to people, but it is so, if you know the slightest bit about anything, it is so obviously stupid. It drives me crazy. It is the easiest part of a lawsuit. Like, people literally fabricate lawsuits by just finding a potential litigant in some jurisdiction to bring a court case because they want to, do they call these synthetic cases or whatever, the ones that they really want to get an issue to the Supreme Court. The fact that you can have 60 cases that you think are strong on the merits and almost all of them are dying on standing, in my mind, you can tell me if you feel differently, but in my mind, I would not think, man, it sure is a shame that all of these cases that were so good on the merits never got a proper, hearing. I would think, oh, I'm guessing all of these cases are f***ing bullshit if you can't even clear the basic standing threshold. That would be my assumption.
Right. So, like, you're running into something that every lawyer with almost every client runs into, where people show up with really bad preconceptions or no conception, and so they just kind of like ad hoc something together to try to explain what's going on, right? Like, I had a client where just recently nothing's happening in the case, right? But the other side filed the lawsuit. My client hasn't been served. There is no movement. They've not asked the court to do anything, but they filed it. And so my client just immediately starts thinking that they have to comply with whatever they've asked for in that lawsuit.
Oh, sure.
Right. And so it's like, it's just people just seeing this thing. And the hard part for lawyers is that you forget what people don't know, because stuff is just so basic for me as a lawyer. Like with the standing thing, where like you would say like, oh, it didn't even get passed on standing. My mind goes, wow, that's a fucking horrible case then.
Yeah.
Like you couldn't figure out standing. But to a normal person, right, they have no clue what that means. And also,
I hate the term. It's a thought terminating thing, and it's another one of these truism things that needs to be eradicated from the civilized person's mind. If you're a barbaric savage, then maybe this is an okay thing. But when I hear things like on a technicality, therefore it shouldn't matter, or it was just a procedural thing, so it shouldn't matter, especially in the world of legal stuffs, it's like, well, without process and procedure, and without the technicalities, like it's a whole system of rules. What a stupid fucking, imagine trying to ship some code that doesn't compile and you're like, well, it should work, but like on a technicality, I guess it just doesn't run. Like it's such a stupid fucking phrase. And it's like, oh, well, on a technicality, I guess everything is good about it then, except for the technical stuff or whatever. It's so annoying how dumb the engagement is with all of it. Ugh.
Yeah. So like, that's something that I've really, I think that's something that has helped me in this community and also just in my legal career, is that I've worked really hard to be able to explain legal concepts to people to lay people in a way that they can engage with it. And a lot of lawyers have trouble with it, but like doing that is really important. And one of the big things is to make sure you don't fall into idioms or just kind of turns of phrase that people are going to just already have the preconception. So like if I was talking to people about the standing issue in these cases, right, I like saying it's a technicality or even procedural. I would not use those words because they all think, oh, you cheated and you didn't actually have to do any work and you won anyways, right? Which is cheating. I would say it's like foundationally it couldn't get there, right? It's a foundational problem, and I think people can connect more with that and see kind of more of that perspective of like, oh, like it's not that it was a technicality; it's that they couldn't even bring the case, right? There's a problem with the foundation here, such that like it couldn't proceed. And so like trying to find those tricky words to avoid and then kind of the more, tangible words for people to attach to is hard. And also it's the validation issue, but that people just want to be validated. But your frustration is shared by every lawyer ever. And it's kind of what I was talking about at the fundraising thing, where you like, especially with juries, right? They come in, they go, well, I know what murder is, I know what evidence I need to see, I know what contract is, and so you have to reteach them that. You have to do it in a way where they are willing to let go of what they already have, what they already think, and adopt what you're saying. It's very hard, and it's why you usually are a lot of the times in these cases, when you're trying to get the jury to do that, you have to bring them to it, which is why the Socratic method is such a big.
Hey guys, this is a Jaeger task guide for Rough Tarkov. For this task, we do have to locate the heavily mined area on Woods and also the Claymore mine on Ground Zero. So starting with Woods, I do have a map up on the screen, and the area where we do have to go is actually behind the tent at the big USEC camp. So I am in a raid on Woods at Proper's USEC camp, and as we do end up going past this truck, then you will see the tent just in front of us. You do want to keep along the left-hand side of this tent and go towards the back left, where you will see some sandbags. Now, as you do get close enough to these sandbags, then you will get a subtask complete. And now that we have this, then I will take us over to Ground Zero. So I do have a map up on the screen, and where we do have to go is inside the first floor of the Empire. As you do get close enough to the left-hand side of this tent, then you will see the tent just in front of us. You do
big deal in the legal world, because a big reason is that if you can get the jury to think, or the person you're talking to think that they came to the conclusion instead of you putting it there, right, then they're much more likely to believe it. And so that's why things feel a bit roundabout and stuff like that. But I mean, the other thing on
also another quick thing for a lot of these losers too is that, like, I know nobody reads anything, but like the judges wrote a lot about the contents. Like in a lot of these dismissals, the judges do write about the underlying evidence as well. And a lot of these
Trump cases,
and a lot of these, like, I hate this whole world. When you look at it's so night and day looking at this Department of Justice versus the last one, bro. When the feds drop an indictment on you in a real DOJ, you're like dead to rights, like in the indictment. Like whatever they showed the grand jury almost seems like fuck, it's over. Holy shit.
You might
like,
as well be convicted.
There is so much. Like I win my debates off of just what's in the fucking indictment, let alone who knows how much other evidence they're holding back or can present at trial or could find via subpoena or additional investigation. Like those indictments are rock fucking solid. These guys are, I think one thing that people don't realize is that, for civil courts especially, right? Like the point of civil court is that the court has to be able to give you some kind of equitable relief for whatever injury you've suffered. I don't think people realize how unbelievable the relief that these guys were seeking in the cases too, which in my mind also, now maybe this is a layman thing or it's retarded and I shouldn't think this way, but in my mind, when the relief you're looking for is so unbelievable and then taken in conjunction with how light and airy the evidence you're giving is, it's just crazy to me. Like on the court case that this guy was a part of, I'm pretty sure the relief they were seeking from the court was to overturn Georgia's electoral vote. And the underlying evidence that they supplied in the complaint was a single affidavit by QAnoner, but a single affidavit, that's it. And it's like, what the fuck? Like you're looking for what would probably be some of the largest relief ever granted by I think it was a district court they filed in. I think it was another reason the judge got mad because it was supposed to be in state court. But you're looking for some of the largest relief that could ever be provided, and the evidence you're giving is a single affidavit? What the fuck?
So yeah, it's definitely frustrating. It's kind of the reason why I hammer home this Iraq method thing I talk about a lot, because when you jump to kind of the facts of the case and how ridiculous they are, people can kind of sit there and try to justify those facts however they can. Whenever, like, what I would do in that case, if I was arguing with somebody, I would say, I think it's really fucked up, the idea that like a court, like a federal court, should be able to come in and overturn an election, right? Like you would agree with me that our federal courts really shouldn't be able to come in and get involved in an election.
Not without exhausting, all the lower stuff and everything, and even for exhausting the lower stuff, I think you have to go through up to the state Supreme Court, and then those cases get appealed directly to the U.S. Supreme Court. I think, right? Yeah.
And so, like, let's say we agree. So you say, yeah, that's how you feel about it, right? Like, okay, well, great. Well, in this case, that didn't happen. They didn't go to the Supreme Court, and they didn't do anything to get it there. So we just agreed that the courts shouldn't be able to do that. So no matter how you feel about it, you would agree that that didn't happen in this case, right? Now, because it's kind of this thing where, like, they are happy to sit and fight in this, like, create any kind of hypotheticals and fight over the facts to justify their position. But if you can hammer down the logic for how things should work and then apply it to things that did happen, it makes it much harder for them to weasel out, because then you can say, well, we just agreed earlier before to that. And if
Yeah,
they say,
I mean,
well, okay, well, I don't in this case.
I can do it on like
you're just a bad faith piece of shit.
I can do it if I'm explaining to an audience or to somebody who genuinely doesn't know. But yeah, in the face of other people, like, I don't know if you saw my debate yesterday with that guy, that CJ dude. Yeah, it was just, it's so frustrating that talking point of like,
or something.
Yeah, it's so frustrating that talking point of like, like it still persists to this day. They didn't even evaluate the merits of those cases. They all got thrown out on standing, on technicality, and it's like, oh my god.
Well, and the follow-up question to that, I would put to you for that is then, like, well, why didn't they appeal it?
Sure. Well, I think for a lot of them, they might have tried and they just got shut down, or they appealed. They didn't even hear the appeals, the appellate courts.
Sure, and then you can say and it's kind of a thing where, like, I would try to put it onto them of the justification, because I think what happens is, like, if you say, well, why did they appeal it? And even if they say, oh, well, the appellate court's in here, like, okay, why didn't they take the Supreme Court? Why did the Supreme Court do anything about it?
Yeah.
Because it keeps putting it on them to say, because I need to hear justification from you, because
no,
all
yeah,
of the smartest legal people in the room.
On a one-on-one convo, I can do it if I push. It's just so hard to get, like, we're going to do a 60-minute show where we can drill down out of this single topic, because people always weasel out at the very end. Like, even with Tim Miller, there are times where it's just not a thing that you do with, like, media people or mainstream people. Like, this is exclusively like a streamer behavior, but it would be really nice to say, like, hey, I'm going to screen share with you. Let's just read this thing for, like, and go over this document for 30 minutes. But, like, you can't really do that. Like, with just most people just aren't accustomed to that back and forth. Like, I guess streamers or YouTubers are, but God, it would be so nice. Yeah. What part of this do you disagree with, you know?
Yeah. We're currently doing a bunch of depots at my, firm for this really big case, and I'm, like, digging through some documents for it right now, actually. But, like, let's say I'm in a case and, like, I ask a question that this person knows the answer to, and they say, like, I don't know. Well, like, that's not really a good defense, because I can go, really, you don't know? And then I can slow everything, because I've got all day. I can just slow down and go, do you know what the name of the company you work at is? Yes. Okay, great. Do you see that name on this piece of paper? Yes. Okay. What does that sentence say? And I can slow it down and make it painful as fuck and make them walk through every single thing. And then at the end of it go, do you have an answer to the question that I asked before? And if they still say no, then I can read that whole thing to a jury and they look like a total fucking fraud and an idiot, and all of their stuff gets thrown out. But the problem is that, as you've said, there's no way to discredit these. people in front of their own audience because their audience will justify everything they say, right? Like the whole point of like a lot of like witness testimony and questions is that you're up there trying to either bolster that witness to make them credible, or undermine them, right. And the problem is that like the audiences in these things, everybody is already, it's not like, oh, not necessarily like team sports, I'll just believe anything, but like the amount that you would need to overcome to attack their credibility. And then also like, if I was going to attack the credibility of like a conservative, like I would try to make them look gay or something like that, right? Because that's what would undermine them. You can't, facts aren't things that they care about, right? I need to show that this person has an account on a girl website, and he will be destroyed. Nothing he says will matter anymore, right? And that's kind of the hard part, is that there's a debate going on about facts that nobody in the audience is vetting anything, because they're using all these other reasons. And in court, I mean, not like, I just use extreme example, but like in court, you can do stuff to undermine people in those ways, right? Like, were you ever a felon, right? Like, have you ever been convicted of something, right? That can be a way.
It's easier in court, though, because like because you can ask a clear line of questioning and they're forced to answer, and you've got 12 people who have been read a clear set of rules that know how they're supposed to evaluate things. You can't rage quit.
Don't give the jury too much credit, but
I give them a lot more credit than an average audience where there's no judge and the person can, but no,
but like I think the other side though is like that one debate you did on Palumbo or whatever his name is,
Palumbo.
Not the most recent one, but the other one where you just called that guy like a human piece of shit or something, and then you were like, I stand by my statement. I was like, yeah, like that's kind of, to me, that's how I would probably go into a lot of this, of just like, I'm just going to make my statements. If you want to engage with them, you can, but a lot of it is, to me, it seems like there's a game being played where like there's these two parties in an argument show up to these shows, and like one party is chasing the other one, trying to get them to convince the other person, and that party usually is at a huge deficit, which is probably why like Andrew Wilson likes to do the internal critique, because it forces the other person to chase him into agreeing with them. And I think whenever you take that strong like fuck you, you're a piece of human shit stance, it is strong enough that it kind of pulls them, and they're like, oh, you know, you can't say that, and they kind of start being, now they have to go on the offensive to you. And I think that that's kind of how I would start positioning a lot of this, because you can't really attack them on the facts and things like that. It's more of just like, you need to be able to have a strong enough statement that they need to attack you, because they're expecting you to soy out and attack them, and they get to look strong and don't have to actually stake out anything. I don't know. I mean, it's just, that's kind of how it looks to me whenever I'm watching a lot of this. But I mean, I don't know. I've only done one real debate or anything, and I really didn't enjoy it. So like, I don't have a ton of cachet to talk about this with you, because like, I don't know, I did like one Wick panel and it just was super distasteful to me. I don't know how you do it so much.
Pretty dumb.
Yeah.
Steve's on bad terms with his ex. He's in a lawsuit. I'm perplexed. He's in Miami getting no sex. He ain't got no Rolodex. Yeah. What is a Rolodex?
Won't the judge be able to easily tell this is just a fishing expedition? It seemed fairly obvious by the lack of any evidence. I mean, I don't know. I would hope so, but one of the issues is we're so close to trial that I don't know if the judge will just say, let's fucking run it, because we're so close anyway.
We're close to trial.
But I don't think that'll happen,
it's
because...
not for a while.
I don't think we can go to trial in this state. We have to do party depositions.
Let's get some depositions
and they
done.
Skip their deposition.
Come on, hon.
Like there's so many weird things about this case. So one is that like, we can't really go to trial, I don't think, without doing party depositions. That seems kind of crazy. But they skipped their deposition.
Just do it on the stand. Pose each other on the stand. Shrimp Laz.
And for no reason. Like, we filed it, we noticed it with the court, and then they emailed my legal team, and they're like, we're not going to this. And then Andrew's like, okay, well, if you don't want to go to your deposition, then file it with the court. And they were like, we're not going to bother filing with the court, because this is bullshit. We don't have to go. And so they just fucking skipped it. And then the judge issued a show cause.
Stop talking about my hair.
why the fuck did you skip
You're
the deposition that
objectifying
was
me.
noticed with the court for no reason?
My
And they're
nuts.
like, well, we shouldn't have had to go. My guess is I'll be sanctioned for that. But it's going to be, I imagine it would be hard to argue that, like, we need to open discovery because we need to do party depositions when we skipped ours for literally no reason. Because they didn't even put the court on notice. I don't fucking
You know what I think every man needs in this world? I think they need a good drill and a good set of pliers.
I have no clue. I don't know. I don't know how lenient the judges and shit like this. It's federal court, so it should be like a little bit more serious.
What drill do I have? I've got a DeWalt. But I wish I had a Milwaukee. Screwdrivers? That's what the drill's for, brother.
Are you talking to Kafka? And he said it was one of the most retarded things he's ever seen. Well, sometimes life is just special, you know? Is there any logical reason for them to avoid the deposition? Is there something to hide? Is she avoiding something? Steelman this. I don't know why they skipped it. I don't know why they didn't notice the court. They should have told the court.
Duh.
They should have told the court that they were going through. There's no reason.
They don't
for
give
them
a
to do
fuck.
That. That's just a mistake on their part.
They don't
That's
give
why
a
the
fuck,
judges should have show cause. Show cause means you have to show a cause, a good cause for why you didn't do something. Otherwise, you're gonna get sanctioned or penalized or something. I have no idea what the fuck.
They're just here to troll you, man. They're trolling.
So talking with Kafka that you had a notion that your team didn't believe you, at least initially. Could you elaborate? I mean, I don't know 100%. I'm just my guess is I've heard it said a lot that like I've heard it said a lot that clients lie a lot to their legal team, and they were just the way that they were so cautious about everything in the beginning. My guess is that they thought that most of Pixie's original complaint was probably true. It's probably pretty exceptional that somebody would lie about 90% of what you would put in a lawsuit, at least a high profile lawsuit maybe. So they probably thought that like I probably fucked up considerably more than I was telling them, which is fair. I imagine a lot of, maybe that's just my assumption, but maybe they don't. I don't know. Maybe they don't think that. But if you want to endlessly breed cats in the word food, breed in the mouthless mutation. They can't eat food in battle to regen, but you're using them for breeding. That's pretty fucked up, bro.
How about you fucking talk about the case? No one cares about this shit game. You're lucky that the cats every once in a while meow a song.
Should your legal team file a motion for sanctions? Yeah, we've got one, Rule 11. And their response was to just file their own Rule 11. And they were like, they're trying to sanction us for no reason, so we're going to sanction them for trying to sanction us. So I guess we'll see how that goes. I think that's generally considered poor taste, but response in opposition 222 defendant's motion eliminated to preclude argument and evidence to prevent plaintiff's use. Oh. Oh my god.
Type shit, yeah. Moot, get Tiny to play Baldur's Gate 3 with you. No. Absolutely not. He would troll me. He would be annoying. And he'd try to goon with every fucking character.
Defendant's omnibus motion in limine is not a proper evidentiary motion. It is an attempt to resolve disputed facts, relitigate issues, and exclude probative evidence through procedural shortcuts. The motion repeatedly seeks exclusion, not because the evidence is inadmissible, but because defendant disputes it or failed to develop it in discovery. God, this reads like AI. This is blah, 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 blah. Not because of this, but because of the, I don't know. I feel like halfway through this case, Jones started to switch to AI, especially when they said they use Lexus. They said they couldn't.
I mean, Claude is very good, so
find that they couldn't find one of our cases on Lexus, so they said it didn't exist. I feel like actually all the law things on